the United States of America, one nation, and justice for all.
Are you still a guest, Colin? Are you now a visitor? Something like that. Thank you for coming yet again and joining us and for working on the transportation chapter. I had opportunity to read the draft. I hope you all did as well. Are there any comments that you noted down as you were reading before we let Colin jump in there and tell us all about what he thinks of the draft thus far?
Just to kind of discussion.
Okay.
Right off the bat, the vision and goals are stated as Harry this afternoon towards the end of the day and realized that we hadn't really looked at the 2015 overall vision that was done back in 2015 when we were putting this together, but looking at it today, it synced up pretty well. There was a small transportation. And I brought printouts of that to pass out if that's helpful, of just that section. So just a note that the 2015 overall community vision statement talked about multimodal transportation routes and improved sidewalks and bike network, and then connection between neighborhoods and the downtown. So synced up very well.
Yeah.
Just running down the 5 main themes, of course, with the previously created definition for each of those. The vibrancy section, I hope is not too fluffy to say, vibrancy is about human activity. That kind of came to my head. And then the transportation network should be facilitating that with, expand upon some of the stuff we've already talked about, organized street network, playing off the concept of complete streets, talk about how that's defined and if you want us to get into that a little bit more or less, and then some from folks in outreach, focusing on parking and walkability and so forth. I'll stop there on the vibrancy thing instead of just let them keep going.
I just be calling out micro.
Speak of driving, walking, biking.
It seems that microtransit is coming our way, and if we don't plan for it, it may be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
For those out there, Mike, can you kind of elaborate on microtransit? What does that mean?
Basically,
It's electric scooters and electric bikes. Well, it might be considered biking as well, but all those different mobility devices people have, whether
there's a unicycle guy that comes through town. There's
one you just stand on.
The original was the Segway, of course.
We're seeing that as being difficult in some towns and challenging.
And devices. But we just should be planning, thinking
goals, the main goal. Those will be in the.
Okay.
I think it's just you know, more detailed find. Chapter will have.
That makes sense. Apologies on this. I flagged a couple of them and said that's an implementation chapter thing. I just didn't want to lose them in the thread. But
Yep. Have a perspective implementation.
Be linked. You click on that.
Yep. Excellent.
I happen to know, the word should
okay.
is used a lot. Being, is only a recommendation, shall is like we have to do this. And so that's, I'm not so sure if, it probably is exactly the right word in most cases. It just seemed like it was should, when I read through the whole thing.
For stronger language.
Well, in some cases, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to road design, shall consider
Yeah.
instead of should consider. You really must consider some safety. You gotta do it, or one may have, but,
Yeah.
Will be is probably appropriate. Yes. Right.
Being should versus this is imperative for the future health of Newmarket versus. So I can go through. Yeah, and what the kind of narrative turns into a few times in a row. You know, activity's pretty self-explanatory. We're from folks during the outreach, origin of this, census data, about, if necessary, that's what should be in here.
Just link it, hyperlink. Put it in there.
You mean the
It should be there.
well, a picture. When the text is broken up. Now that would be
How would that look?
that might be harder.
Yeah.
And people go here during the day to work. Maybe better place there than in.
Is this out of a certain number of respondents, I imagine, but we don't know. But out of,
I think you put the reference to the data.
Data source?
Yeah, we'll need the data citation. This looks like, I forget the acronym, LOADS, I forget what it stands for, but it is census collected data on boards and disaggregated, and we have a very, legalese. We will not share information that's private.
Okay.
So actually, turn this into a useful graphic. Play with it. Some sort.
I like the big one.
I
I love tables.
I like it. Yeah. Sometimes you don't go back to it.
The walkability of it, many people. Between neighborhoods into the town and the trail side. Think about the reference from that's helpful information or a different way. Okay.
Leave people.
Well, that's sort of. These would, so that's the other thing. The option sort according to their. But it's not a complete list, so we can only fit 6. Or other submissions that people type. This is the actual. So plenty of. From crowds. After that photo, use and so forth. One kind of question about the word. That you don't want to steal your thunder. Or if I classification system. Whatever it's going to be called.
Yeah. Or what you would like it to be. Give it some other. Probably all.
Road.
I keep calling them gateways. 152 as gateways, but
about like as people at the gateways, like going to the gates and the gas station and start. It's sort of an undefined.
I think it. It's
Yeah.
this, as you approach the downtown village, downtown. The length of that.
But if this is, if gate.
Yeah.
Felt like ambiguous for folks to look at, but just something I flagged for myself because I wasn't exactly sure.
Place, right?
There's a gate.
Yeah,
Gate.
it's an actual.
And you go through.
You go, the door opens, you're in Jurassic Park, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if it's, yeah. Routes or.
But it's an interesting, because street design.
I get you.
So it's important. Actually is.
And that changes over time.
I mean, there is also that planning for possibly, you know. Yeah, I think that's about somebody. Where does that begin? Past the little bridge. Road, yeah. You're in the village, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And well, that's also pretty clear. That's very.
Well, I
Right
wouldn't
there.
say. Once.
Yeah.
So narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I feel yeah, there's definitely transition as you go. Yeah, definitely. But I wonder if golf course. You just observations.
Yeah.
That should maybe be considered a game. Right now, it doesn't necessarily mean that.
I think that but we're but I or in village, you know, you'll basically be advised this is 5 miles down the road or something like that. Just to keep. Now I'm in the. So those two to have a sign.
Statue or something.
I would feel.
Just a piece of art. So that's a. It could be something. The junction. Like,
Colonial days.
Like in Teleswan, maybe it 52, and then, but I don't know, it'd be coming into another way of telling someone. Drake,
Talk of first impression, how important it is. The front door will be first. As soon as you go.
here's get close to Burlington, you know, the whale tails. Because I'm off 89, there's two right hand side as you go into Burlington, and if was as they were building 89, the artists really cool to memorialize that. So they just there's that the actual purpose there. If we're bringing arts and culture into this,
Yeah, no,
you know,
it-
I don't know, differentiate and
border, very close to the
yeah,
border. So
it's close by.
yeah.
Doesn't have to be like, you know, transition.
The last little bit. The picture, kind of building is what services are active, rides and all building support.
Ready
Ready
rides is
rides.
direct. So, just a lot of things have to happen. That's it. And then I think of just a bracketed thing that I need to actually connect to transportation via C&J.
No.
And ensure students have safe walking routes to and biking.
That's a good catch. I mean, similar and outside Newmarket. What we mean by
access.
activity goal number 2.
Making it
Route safe access.
okay.
about that? Better.
Uh, so, to get to their destination, become a physical ability, that it was a highest ranked. Heard from found a nice quote in here to put in here. Town. On the his home place. He puts some sort of looking at the sidewalk. The project that we're actually the Dover on specifically to the transit network. Let's see. And that's good. And find that about green
Streets. Of incorporating kind of resilience section. It can be an asset, not just a liability. Um, um, let's see.
The section RPC, I think that entire section might be it 3 years
Mm-hmm.
outdated and and it's not really it's or information and approaches that we can utilize. But
I made a note for myself to kind of the level of traffic. Consider the street region on bicycle level, or before the planning board vote. Just data as well. So there's a link to the entire roadmap.
and then it'll flow nicely. Streets that follows that.
It's just a random note that I was looking at. The manual on uniform traffic. And they recently updated. They allowed that was a walk-on street art and build a crosswalk. Do it a specific way. material you use, the width and the
Yeah.
that is fully compliant. Requirements and so forth. And the down crosswalks when it's time to replace the let's do something. That photo is CCD.
Yeah, to show. I think that's a good. Interesting.
Yeah.
I said he couldn't use humor on yourself.
State to state, out with the messages. Well, I missed that part,
Federal
but
highway.
yeah. Going into Massachusetts.
Times.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
That kind of stuff. Yeah. That does funny things. Things
Yeah.
like that, but sign and do what they want. And I agree. It's funny. It's like DOT does. They put up the previous year. I think it.
Yeah.
I hope I would have a person will do just slow down, not die on the way to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Getting reminded of it, and it's across.
So I got a little. That ties. Making sure people.
And, well, on, I guess, on the one of the compliant. That's only the printed version. But in the next paragraph down. The other.
The corner of Big Bean and travel. It's in the
Page 8, middle of
the quotes and page. Second quote. The photo of Pizzeria, which is now Wing. My area between moving traffic and the last thing we want to be very careful from the on and said parking is the big move one parking spot. Area between people sitting in cars going by. Somebody crashed into a building 4 or 5 times in town. It area between 108 whatever. There's this does get sightline design. protected by the.
You'd rather have that removed.
Going against so many, just removing this, it will mention spots downtown. I keep going down.
That's a good catch. Of the system to, we'll come up with something more patrol. I wanted to stress. Still, we need any goal on here. Safety one.
I don't know if a effect would fit under accessibility, but it seems like it would overall all some goals could live.
The sub-goals develop. Something like that. The other side.
Accessibility goal. Seems to be the overwhelming
Plan, so
It's creating like goal,
zone important enough to be of.
So have 3 goals.
to
And in front of.
Yeah.
Not becoming an inspiration.
want to talk about that.
It's like, oh, it's January.
Yep.
Affordability section. Affordability again is a cost of living or affordable transit. You name it. Gives people more. And that is that all communities are facing let's see, by the age and what they're, especially when it comes to public transit. Talking about Coast Route 7, possibility of kind of and finding ways to expand. Notes about the appendix, or, but maybe more for data.
Can we table, can we move the provide rather? It just. And also, a to this on people can what's available some service.
That would be an easy, but the trip link.
Yeah.
I'm starting.
Yeah, or that, what's that, what's it called?
Yeah, so that's that.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it today and realized it still has Wildcat on there, so I need to talk to Jeff about
it does.
Updating that.
Described properly.
Oh, okay.
Now, on that table, Coast Route 7, it says it's no to accessible. All coast vehicles are accessible.
Yeah. So.
And I don't think that the availability either any longer.
Computer may be freaking out. Hopefully it won't die. Well, so what did you think of is in that list? It's not a station here,
Right.
It is adjacent. Long-term parking at Durham, unless money is no object. In terms of
Yeah.
what you all thought about including Amtrak it is a not local service, but pretty darn close.
Yeah.
I think it's close enough that it's okay to include it. It's less than 5 miles, I believe, from the downtown to the Durham station. You could be 5 miles in the same town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to make sure. Let's see. To public transportation support. So we focused on the not so much on graphics just yet, and trying not to kill ourselves on formatting. The affordability.
Fit in somewhere. I think we need to talk about identifying a funding stream for public transit.
Could that be resiliency?
Pardon?
Resiliency.
Because it's always nice to talk about wanting to figure out how we're going to for the long range. So the $5, are we using the $5 surcharge on registrations? Because if we aren't, that's something that we should consider for sure. It's not called surcharge. It's an There is enabling legislation that allows towns to levy up to $5 on car registrations for the purposes of improvements. And that can include infrastructure, but also services. Does it, for example, in the you basically have created a transit fund that way.
Yeah.
The ability, you know how much you have, and it's
Can it roll over?
I do not know.
I believe it can.
Yeah.
Some communities, Rochester, they set some of it aside for match for like a future sidewalks, bike lanes, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Put some towards parking.
Yeah, some people do. Some do that. It's basic fund, and it's something set up
15 even.
for 15 the last couple of legislative cycles, and it just It's
and
close.
it passed both houses and was then vetoed by
yeah.
the governor
Yes.
for some reason. I mean, I think that would talk about it. And that's on the on the
Number one. Or even enforcement. Pay up for that. No. That's more funding, you know.
so under regional, and it says collaboration with municipalities. You know, work. Or at least have a regional conversation about how to goals. To have that pulled out a little bit more than
You
than
mean-
we have. I mean, but I think we don't have a, we're very focused in this master. I think access and even the Durham and where
No. Tried to talk about that in the resilience section,
Yeah.
looking at
we're not quite there yet. Goal to initiate a regional out together with other towns. Will we be able to that we can do on earlier we start having conversations, though as well. If Stratum is thinking about, we have more inquiries from older residents, and we have to meet their, so they're having a conversation, and Exeter's having a conversation, and we're having a conversation, but bringing that together, and I don't know what the time frame of 10 years. And I'm sorry, I don't quite know where.
I'm thinking of a few spots for that, and game, it's getting out there. Like leaders together. When was the last?
I don't. Probably is.
Last time.
Yeah.
So I can. Moving on to resiliency. The weak points. Being able to support as well as the recovery from the fact that the structure are becoming all around, coastal community is but also human resilience. So does the system, the people rely. If someone is traffic,
Yeah.
independently, does the transportation system continuing to accomplish their daily stuff? That idea came into my versus
And part of that communication information about what is available already to residents and easily found that we can even if it's a
idea. Notes for myself, remaining active in that because they're doing a 2020. Previous reports reference Bill and Gary. So it just seemed like market was part of that conversation. In that, as a coastal community.
Okay.
So that is all there for that, and that a lot of that.
Miss.
Yeah.
And provide. But some mention of wildlife corridors and more culvert and bridge structure as well. Often think of the roads, but there are other uses that acquire. We do making those in the future.
Well, because if you make it wide enough for wildlife, it's also
It's a more and better for all users.
follow up on that. And I already mentioned the thing about like the temporary note at the end here. Just need to put some text down about and then something so if reducing emissions that ability air flush out appropriate.
The first time I read this, it wasn't crossed out.
Oh, yeah.
I think these conversations with you all at the chapter or
Okay.
here, as I was maybe. So not that it's going relocated thing.
Okay.
Here above the goals. Coverage, so not pain, but of trees that fall, management of an efficient sort of data before or better. So as I update, I'm not being redundant or conflicting with that, so that's just I think needs the most work and contributes to the other parts of the but maybe it'll
On it, just from a the no to your commercial don't commentaries. Not a vibrant problem is why it's there.
picture negative at all.
So I
You never put a winter
was and like business science, but none of them use any of that. And I was just
Yeah.
thinking, like,
I mean,
you know,
it speaks to coming back from something. I think it falls on it.
You know,
It looks warm. Yeah, right, exactly.
Be a good spot for connection. Resilient.
I think you're right.
it alone, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
So maybe regional.
right.
There's mutual aid on here, but
Yeah.
In that area, I think so. Community powered idea, but for road.
But I think it's also with different communities, like you were saying before.
A forum. An ongoing play.
Solve region.
That kind of that is very specific. Maybe initiate something. Newmarket will be part of something to that effect.
Opportunities to
Do that last. It made it through one change about you pay into the fund, you lose a road, and the cost FEMA, like you said, you care about in Newmarket, rely on for their community to get south. That there's a bridge in Newfield that if it goes down, we didn't have any money. Like,
You know?
yeah. So that's about being, you know.
And I think another too is
Right.
And so I think part of that solution
Yeah.
is a good aspiration.
Yeah, I think so too. Sounds like something that want to. Or be part.
Lament how a couple of conversations. Bridge, but a lot of people. So which like if it goes down, there are other people that have. There currently isn't a fund. for-
Yeah.
We all need this. I think there's gotta be a formal
Kind
way.
of like a bridge.
Agreement.
Yeah. On a sort of. All right. Thoughts on any of the sections? I think.
Sort of that, keeping a comprehensive list of funding opportunities. Where to go. And I think just all over. Control for that.
Enough to work.
I'll kind of follow. Really done that.
Great.
Department of Use-
Okay.
That's helpful. Will be the only iteration.
Yes.
I the review of the minutes, so
Fine.
jump back there and
Thank you.
thank you very much.
No,
You know, your work. It's
to approve the December 11th.
Thank you. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Item number 3B. Relative to potential.
So yeah, just communities, who we need to talk to. I didn't know if you had anything to.
The only thing I can share is that and these numbers perfectly. Because of the results of the Newmarket urban area, and therefore 5307 for these communities, which is $1,000 for their state will be receiving $50,000. So there's meet the needs of the communities that are and how it will be made available is but my understanding is DOT is working to rather than first and then have coast so that the this year as a follow-up to Route 7 on demand, or we stay with that term. You know, transition rather than having to, you know, go through the state first. So it eliminates.
Question on that. Is the whole the Seacoast area?
It would be specific to the towns
this
for
section.
Have had some coast Exeter doing and how they're approaching kind of the change is up there, and their work with Coast to change this might be possible. Portsmouth is funding. I think I don't know if that's true. So we'll see what keeping our ears to that. The conversation is what we have to do at the and developing a vision for what we would like to look like here.
Board meetings and see where opportunities are.
The way I look at it is I think we have this master plan to really, you know, what services are here, access them, how they operate, how well they residents are, how many residents are using, and begin the process of maybe shifting priorities based on the and most available in a meeting. Someone to find out drive because I had so going down the road. Who have you know, whatever is with what kind of how are we going to fund that match in order,
You know,
no what the 5311 or
I know it's 50-50.
right. I think the
It kills.
yeah.
Houses are 80-20. 5311 is a formula. 5307 is formula. So it's not an app. But I don't remember a 53.
Goal, the way I understand the goal this that's what they're trying to do.
My understanding and you know, they country, there was a huge spike in like suburban, not competition for the kind of rural transit funds. Factor at play. Hopefully.
But, clearly it's have to really means and how we move forward to update.
And then talk with Colin. Next steps. So, road.
Yeah, I discussed briefly the road safety. Submitted conduct a road safety audit on New Hampshire 108, Route 108 Way and Terrace Drive, and selected primarily police chief and fire chief. That was a concern from and those incidents. So we submitted back in January 23. They had some turnover and processing and selected corridor and those intersections, and it's actually all as or intersections as one project because they're in close proximity. Have and signage when you get into that it's a little safer there. Roadway and dark. It's a.
This is Bennett Way entering.
Typically the right of way of 108.
Yeah.
Where Bennett Way comes in and towards the train tracks at the police. Both of those is pretty much side of the other intersection is the segment that they're going to be looking at. Has a project manager from their safety section. We are working with their. They're going to come between 1 and 4 p.m. Refer to you while inviting all transportation committee members to attend. Open to the but DOT stakeholders on what and the purpose of what some of those issues are. Improvements could report that identifies a range of implemented and so that we include Bart fire chief and represent, if you guys would like to. I think it would be good to have some representation, notification letters to the direct about these intersections. Opportunity to put as well. Oh, and Amy, I forgot, rec as well, because
It's already a fairly sizable transportation committee would, impossible. So if you guys
we'll meet here at town hall. We'll meet possibly presentation area, and then there'll be that's another reason why we want to manageable, because 1 to 4 is the, yeah. If it'll actually take stakeholder input is required for the full time block. 1 o'clock and initial portion.
I think that's a conversation like that, so I'll look for.
Great. And the only thing I had was, moving on, you good, Lindsay? Kind of give us a little update on the parking study. We have UNH phone.
I think the years is 1% of the way on the map from you all at the town. Jackson, the parking spaces and parking. One of the things. We come places versus the bikes. So one place it'll be turned in, or we could still do paper. It's designated and then recruited locally to ours.
Great. So just let us know what you do to help facilitate of the map.
We're counting cars, and are we targeting a certain time?
That'll have to be since you've got satellite. If you have 3 routes, Somersworth, for example, is evening, say for like something like that. So it's not the entire. You want walked and counted each. And so the actual times data collection can happen pretty much as long as there's. It would be pretty brutal. I think you'd be low. Not just counting the cars, it's later, but we
multiple not just your usage. I forget the term. Higher turnover rates in the downtown. That's where people might be, you know, or
There's certainly, Thursday period.
yeah. So we want a weekend and a weekend day. With the final map. So like I said, we have 3 routes.
Yeah.
Years. Hours in the evening, that's pretty. 2 hours.
So realistically, it would be better to have here so that you can.
And we're like 6 to 8
time. And I'm kind of going to be there in the city hall. And I'm just going to be working.
Okay.
That's kind of how we're running it there. So it's an idea. Hours in the morning and evening.
full day or something.
When?
Need to be done by June.
The winter time is,
You never know. You could plan. That'll be a snowstorm.
in some restaurants in town here. So it's,
Yeah.
it's like data and that. Spring, it's
I just
Not that I know of. You know, if they can read numbers on a license. You got. I think there's
a good way to do something.
there's nothing wrong with that I can.
high school has required.
Yeah, exactly.
And certainly UNH planning students.
The steps are clear. It's
Oh, yeah.
not hard.
Methodology, it's license plate. They don't even have to, whether it was the same, tabulate all that later. It's straightforward. So I guess so. Email right now.
Just jumping back to the safety audit, or do we need to we want to
You can just.
We have
Oh, good call. So
So
let me know. Let me. Yeah.
I'm available as well.
okay, we'll assume that Madeline is.
Good.
All right, well, motion to. I'll make that motion.
Oh, yeah. Are we good with that? Or just,
I don't have anything at the moment, but.
sounds good, just let us know.
It's for everybody. Add to the agenda.
Want to talk about it? I think we might be able. We want to just wait for the study to come out. Easier. We want to discuss the parking at all, or is I think,
And then move to the, do the, plan, not road classification.
Okay,
And then the whole public transit piece is going to be something that make some decisions or recommendations to the town council. Yeah. So we have a motion. All in favor?
aye,
All right.
aye, I voted